Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Today we are going to have another pairing video and we are going to check out the Brachypelma Emilia, the red-legged tarantula. Now these guys come from Mexico, as I'm sure you're all aware. They are one of the staple spiders in the hobby, and the Brachypelmas are a funny group of spiders. They have a huge following. A lot of people really like them. Dare I say it, I don't find them massively exciting, but they are very cool spiders. And I think it's just because everything that goes on with a Brachypelma is super slow. And in my nature is to move along a bit quicker. I wouldn't say I'm impatient, but I do like, thank you cameraman. I do like to get on, I do like to get on and do things. And yeah, the Brachypelma take a long time to mature, long time. So we managed to get our adult female Brachypelma Emilia. She came in a collection, and we've had a number of them come through like this, in this way. Now, normally in the past we've moved them on, but for the last year or so, we've actually been holding back the females that we get, and we've been keeping them. With the idea that we're going to start breeding some of these Brachypelmas, because it's a really important part of the hobby. It's a very exciting part of the hobby for an awful lot of people, and they are a spider that really does need to be bred in captivity as much as possible. So although we've been doing spiders for a long time, many years, but we started off with Brachypelmas as a kid. I started off with the Brachypelmas, never actually bred any. So we've never gone down the road of breeding the Brachypelmas. So we thought we're going to try and change that. So we are going to learn along with everybody else, and hopefully you can join in on the journey, and we'll all learn together. That's the plan. So that being said, sit back, check out this pairing. Quite a long-winded one, and yeah, we will be back shortly to have a little chat about it. Right, see you soon. Here we are about to attempt a pairing with our Brachypelma Emilia. Now, this is the Mexican redleg, or commonly known as the red-legged tarantula. Now, these are a terrestrial spider from Mexico. And I must say, I think these are possibly my favourite of the Brachypelmas. I think they just have wonderful colouring, really pretty. Now we have this male here, and he's sort of getting on a little bit. He's not the freshest of males, and I say we're attempting the breeding here because our female, as you can see there, is a little dull in colour, and she might not be too far away from her molt. Now, she came in only a few months ago, and we don't really know what her molt date is. Now, normally you will know that when we're breeding our spiders, we always try and get a molt from our female, so we know that we are starting at the beginning of their molt cycle. This then gives us time in which to get our females to drop their egg sacs, get them paired up, do everything that we need to do within the breeding program of that particular spider. Now, in instances like this, where we are not sure how long our male is going to last, he looks fairly vibrant here, but he is getting on a little bit. And it was a case of, well, we'll give them a try and we'll see what happens, because sometimes our female will drop a sac nice and early, and it might just happen just before she molts out. So if we can get that sac, it'll be an absolute bonus. If we don't, it'll just be a learning process, and we would have seen some action that we wouldn't have seen otherwise. So it's always worth giving it a try. It's not an ideal situation, but it is a situation that's worth trying. Now, we got our male in there now, and as you can see, he's he's giving it the little shakes and the vibrations. They'll be going through that piece of cork bark, through the earth to our female that's sat over the back there. Now she hasn't moved at all. She is sat dead still. You can clearly see the tibial hooks there on our male. Such beautiful colouring on these spiders. They really are very, very pretty. Now these are one of the spiders that were collected extensively in Mexico, and they are, as far as I'm aware, they are still classed as a threatened spider in the wild state. So it's very, very important that we attempt to breed our spiders and procure captive bred specimens. We get a lovely close-up look at him now. Now, this being said that these guys are threatened in the wild state, all Brachypelmas back in 1994, I believe, moved over onto CITES 2 listed, which gives them protection in the wild and stops them being collected. Now, obviously, there are still some that are collected illegally, and you know, unfortunately, it's human nature. It's something that will always carry on. It will always happen. And but that being said, we are successfully breeding these guys in captivity. So most of the spiders that you see today will be captive bred individuals. You can see the tibial hooks there very, very clearly. You can see our male shaking from side to side. This is a constant barrage of vibrations that he is sending through whatever he sits on, and these are getting transferred over to our female. The floor, because of the way the substrate is made up with sticks, leaves, all this sort of things, these are very, very strong conductors of vibration, and it doesn't take much, and they can be sent a long, long way. Now he is reacting to pheromones that would be placed on this piece of cork bark by our female when she was webbing up her enclosure. They don't web too much, but what they do lay down is laced with pheromones. You can see he's getting quite excited now. Yeah, he's stomping away. He's building up the tempo. You see he's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. That piece of cork bark was actually shaking then. Now, one of the things that we did notice with this particular male was he got very fixated with this piece of cork bark. And he would sort of like, as he is now, come to have a wander off, and then change his mind and think, no, I'm staying on my cork bark. You can see the huge, great pedipalps on him, the emboli on the end there, massive, massive big boxing gloves as we call them. You see he's constantly sending vibrations. Now you can also see a little bit about his age by the size of his abdomen there. He's got quite a small abdomen. This guy probably hasn't got very many weeks left in him. Maybe a month or two if we're very lucky. But his abdomen is shrinking. He's been refusing food. We make sure that he's always got water because our males often require a lot of water. They often drink a lot. There's our female, and you can see there she is much duller in colour. And you can see also as well she hasn't moved. She is sitting tight. I'm sorry if you can hear that cricket in the background. He is actually giving it hell for leather. Obviously the spider that he's living with is not particularly hungry. Now we sat like this for some time with very, very little action going on. And now we've moved our male actually down onto the substrate because he refused to leave that piece of wood. And now he's getting into the swing of things now. And as you can see, he's laying very flat to the floor. He's trying to move our female over. She's being relatively docile. I mean, these are a docile species, but she is being very compliant. You can see there how her abdomen is being pushed forward. See the size difference as well. There we go. There we have insemination there. Nicely done by our male. He's pushing her back again. He is still inseminating now as we speak. It's quite a long process with these guys. You can see that all the time he is holding that position, his emboli is actually penetrating the female's epigastric furrow. And we can tell a lot when we're watching our spiders just purely by the angle of the body of our spiders. Again, now you can see there he's got insemination again now. So when we say he has insemination, what we are actually saying is he's now penetrating that female. You can see now she's lifted up, so he's lost it now. So we're now looking for him to regain the penetration. And this is the point that we're looking for. And you can see also there clearly where the front two legs are between her fangs. And this is where the there you go, he's pulling on her again now. He almost had it then. And you can see there where the actual tibial hooks are used to hold the fangs up. Lovely clear shot of that now. You can see how gentle the pairing is between these two spiders. Now, it is a shame that she is so far along in her molt cycle. But if we'd waited, these guys are notoriously slow. They are very slow growers, and they're very slow at everything they do. And if we tried to wait it, the chances are our male would not have lived long enough. So as we were saying earlier, it's well worth an attempt. He is very near the end of his cycle anyway. So even if he was to get devoured after this pairing, it would not have been in vain. He's been given every chance to procure his line. And hopefully that is exactly what will happen. You see she's trying to lift herself up a little bit. Now looking at the angle there, it looks like we might well be... She's collapsing down on him a little bit. She's using her weight. You notice our male, he's maintaining his composure. There you go, he's still searching. He's still looking. You can see clearly there underneath that the pedipalps are working away. He has actually taken a little bit of a breather. He's slowed down a little bit. And you'll see there as well that our female, you can see the difference in the angle of the body. Our female has actually got pretty much all her legs on the floor now. So she is covering our male. And you would have seen when he was inseminating her, he actually had the front half of her body pushed up into the air. And this is what we're looking for. Will he be able to manage it again? You see he's slowly lifting her, but she's not being particularly helpful at the moment. Now this is quite often what happens with many of the pairings. They get halfway through, they've inseminated a few times. The males will often take a little bit of a breather now. They take their time. Some of them are dive in, inseminate and run like hell. They're the quick merchants. And then we have others like this where they will actually take their time. Many of them will, in fact, clean their pedipalps while in this position and then reinsert and carry on. It's very, very cool. And you can see there he's still searching, he's still looking. Now it's interesting to see there that with the second pair of legs, he's still trying to maneuver our female. He's still trying to lift her up. He's also vibrating those legs as well. So the communication is still full on. Our female is almost just hanging there, which probably isn't being very helpful for our male. Now it would be interesting to know whether our spiders actually feel fatigue. You know, does our male feel tired after working away like this? He's actually lifting up the equivalent of probably double his body weight. Now this is the point now where our males are at most danger. You can see there that she is literally completely over. She's covered him entirely, and he's almost bent in two. And all it takes now is for her to push down with her front legs and her fangs, and she will literally fold him in half. Now you can see now he's broken away a little bit now. He's obviously decided he's done as much as he can do. You can clearly see the embolia on the end of them pedipalps. So we know he's actually managed to use them. Notice the contact there on the front two legs. He's still got 1 foot between her fangs. And you can see there where he's constantly trying to stroke down her second leg, well, her first leg actually, with his second leg. See the size difference in them now is very clear. Now you can see now he's gone back to shaking and rocking. He's holding his pedipalps high. He is getting ready to leave. He's still getting them odd slaps in. You see how the difference is in the legs shaking. Here we go. He's raised himself up. Still maintaining contact. This is the most important thing. He's edging away, but he's still maintaining contact. See that leg between the fangs? That's the important one. As you can see there, we can see what he's up to. So we're going to come in and we're going to give him a helping hand. And what has actually happened here is it became apparent after a little while that his front leg is actually stuck between her fangs. So what had happened was she was pulling down on her fang, and it had actually locked the end of his foot in between her fangs, and he couldn't quite break away. So we had to help him out. And as you can see now, we're helping him climb out of the enclosure. They're not very good at climbing out of these tubs. So we've helped him out, got him into safe ground, and our female is more than happy. She's very, very relaxed. So fingers crossed, we will get a successful sack out of this female, all being well. That's the hope. Hope you enjoyed that. Well, like I said, they take a little bit of time. They're not the fastest in the world. And You guys are really, really lucky because you got the condensed version. I had to sit through the real life version, which took, oh, I dread to think, it took a long, long time, nearly all afternoon. You know, it just went on and on and on and on and on. Anyway, we finally got there and we got a successful insemination, as you saw in the video. Now, one of the things that took so long was our male. Let's start at the beginning. We said in the video that our female, she might be quite a long way into her molt cycle. Now, because she came in only a few months back, we've got no history of our female. We don't know what she's been up to, when she molted, anything. She has fed with us. She's had a couple of meals, but we don't know when she molted. Looking at her colour, I would suggest that she's quite a long way into her molt cycle. So, you know, we're at a little bit of a loss there. Now, our male, he unfortunately has been a mature male for some time. So we were a little bit worried that our female would not molt out before our male passed on. So we took the decision that we would give them a try and just see what happens. There's nothing wrong in this. It's a good thing, but we just need to accept the fact that our female may well molt out before she produces a sac. That's the downside to not knowing when your female has molted, and which is why we always try and wait. Once we get a molt from our female, we got a date, and we know then that that's the beginning of that cycle. So we know we've got X amount of time in which to pair and get her to produce an egg sac before her next molt comes up. We can also play around with that time by how much we feed our female and things like that. So it's all about the conditioning of our females. So when we do a job like this one, we've got no conditioning history for our female. So it's very much up in the air and we just don't know what's going to happen. But when your male is near the end of his life, you've got nothing to lose. You may as well give it a go. So that's exactly what we've done. We've tried. And as you saw there, once our male got down and actually made contact with our female, he was quite willing to get it on and he wanted to do his thing. But it probably took him a good hour and a half to leave that piece of cork bark. I'm not kidding you. I think I had 3 cups of tea in the time it took him to get off that cork bark, and then he only left because I pushed him off. So we got to, he sat there, and for whatever reason, he didn't seem to want to get down on the floor. It just seemed really weird, but he was giving all the vibration, he was doing everything. Our female wasn't actually showing any signs of anything at all. She was very laid back, very quiet. Once he actually made contact with her, then you saw everything change. But you would have seen she still didn't actually respond very much at all. There was a little bit of very, very slight shaking vibration from her, but her actual body posture was very interesting in the fact that she was actually quite willing. She actually sort of got into the mood of things relatively quickly. And you'll see there also as well the way he actually moved her over and he managed to get insemination fairly quickly. It was all, once it started, it kicked off pretty quick. It was the introduction that just took forever. It took a long time. Now, you would have seen there, we mentioned in the video, we clearly could see the tibial hooks on our male. And you saw them in action when he actually had his front 2 legs up like that across her fangs. And this is how they wedged them up. And they managed to push her. It gives him that leverage. They hold. Many people think the tibial hook there is to actually hold her, but it gives him leverage. It gives him something to push against, and he manages to push her over so that he can inseminate. Now, you would have seen at the end of the video a very, very interesting thing happened there. We knew that he was on his way out. He'd had enough, and we could see he was backing out. Now, with all of our male spiders, they maintain contact with that front leg, and they hold the female just at arm's length, and you can see him stretching the rest of his body backwards. He's looking to get away as fast as possible should she change her mind and try and grab him. Now, we could see him stretching out, and we were like, well, go on then, go. But then we thought, hang on, this is a Brachypelma. It's going to be slow, isn't it? He's going to take his time, No, that wasn't really the case. What the problem was his tibial hook was caught
underneath her fang, and it was stuck. And this is why he wasn't letting go. It was because he couldn't let go. He was actually stuck there. And as soon as I noticed that, I was like, we need to help him out a little bit. And you'll notice we turned the paintbrush round so that we had the hard end of the paintbrush, and we literally just put it down between her fangs, and we managed to unclip him without upsetting them. And then you see he backed off and went straight away. So, very, very interesting thing. I have never seen that before. I've never seen a male get caught up like that. So it was probably because he's a brachy. Yeah, if he'd just got on with the job in hand, he probably wouldn't have got stuck. But being a Brachypelma, you know, very sedate, take his time. So it was an interesting thing. We've never ever seen that before. So that was really quite cool. And again, you see there how we managed. We clipped him off without upsetting her. Always concentrate on your female. You hear me say this all the time. Concentrate on your female. Male can do whatever he likes. We need to maintain she stays put, because she is the one that's going to be the aggressor should it all go wrong. So we got them apart. We split them up. We had to help him out because he can't climb the thing. And we got him back in his pot, and he's all done and dusted. So that was the pairing of our Brachypelma Emilia. Now, as we said before, it's very important that we try and breed these, and this is why we are here in the Beastie Room. We are now starting to concentrate on some of these New World spiders, and this is because all of the Brachypelmas are now, as far as I'm aware, are all now CITES 2 listed, so they're all fully protected by law. So we can't just go and collect them like they were in the early days. You'd have heard us say in one of the videos recently that many of the spiders, you know, were collected to the point of actually being threatened. And the Emilia is a threatened spider in its native Mexico. It is classed as a threatened species. So now we can't collect them as freely as we used to. The onus is on us to actually breed them. As keepers, we need to breed them to maintain them in the hobby. You know, it's something that's so important, and we really need to be doing our bit. And it's a good chance for us as a hobby to show the rest of the world that we're full on with what we're doing, and we're being responsible, and we're doing our very utmost to maintain our hobby ourselves. You know, we don't need to rely on wild caught spiders in that respect, especially when they're threatened spiders like these Brachypelmas. So we are going to do our best to try and breed a few more of them. So I'm glad I hope you enjoyed that. They're very, very different to do, and they do require a bit of time. And we've got a few different ones that we're going to try and do over the course of the next year. We're going to try and have a little bit of a play around with them. But yeah, exciting nonetheless, although very, very slow. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I will see you soon, guys.